Am I worthy? Am I worthy for you to leave the familiar and embrace the unknown? The future may be unknown to you, but it is not unknown to me. Do you trust me to provide all that I said I would? Am I worthy? Will you follow me now? Your life will look different than you imagined, but it will be glorious. Am I worthy? Worthy to follow? Worthy to forsake your ways and your plans for my greater? Am I worthy to be the voice that leads you into green pastures? You will prosper in chaos if you follow me. Will you follow? Am I worthy? I am making a way where there seems to be no way for you. Am I worthy? Am I worth it to you? Will you follow no matter what it looks like? I reveal step by step. I give enough for you to follow. Am I worthy to still follow, or will you turn away? I have called you to follow me. Am I worthy? You know, Noah Webster's dictionary says that worthy means valuable. It refers to value, excellence, importance. It also means deserving. There was this part in the definition of worthy in Noah Webster's online that said silver is scarce of worth and worth the labor of digging and refining. So when I was reading this word that the Lord was speaking to me this morning as I was worshiping, I wrote it down and then I went back and read it a few times. And I feel like two things are happening here. The Lord is saying to you, am I worthy? Do you really believe that I'm worthy? Because I'm asking you to do something great. And it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you the way you think about the thing, the way you think about God, the level of faith that you're operating in. It's going to cause you to have greater faith. You need to have greater faith to step into these things. But then also, like, I read it as you in your space where you're saying, am I really worthy to do this? Did you really choose me to do this? So it's almost like a conversation here. I want to go back and read it to you again. And I want you to hear yourself in the, am I worthy? You may be saying today, am I worthy? Am I worthy for you to leave the familiar and embrace the unknown? And then God is saying, the future may be unknown to you, but it's not unknown to me. Do you trust me to provide all that I said I would? Then here you say, am I worthy? He's saying, will you follow me now? Your life will look different than you imagined, but it will be glorious. Here you are again. Am I worthy? He said, worthy to follow, worthy to forsake your ways and your plans for my greater. Here again, am I worthy to be the voice that leads you into green pastures? And this could be you saying this to the people that you're called to impact. The Lord is saying, you will prosper in chaos if you follow me. Will you follow? And here you are again saying, am I worthy? He's saying to you, I'm making a way where there seems to be no way for you. And here you are again saying, am I worthy? Am I worth it to you, God? He says, will you follow me no matter what it looks like? I reveal step by step. I give enough for you to follow. Here you are again. Am I worthy to still follow? Or will I turn away? I have called you to follow me, says God. And here you are again saying, am I worthy? I counted 8 times that am I worthy in this. And so I think that's right. I don't know if that's right, but 8 is the number of new beginnings. So I want to encourage you today that God has given you a mandate. We do this a lot on this channel, and I'm praying for this birthing that's happening for you. Yesterday I said I'm praying for your impact. Today the Lord is saying 2 things. He's asking you, am I worthy? You know, like, take the focus off of yourself and ask yourself, am I worthy? There's some amazing songs that I'm going to drop in the description below. One is Who Else? And the second one is by Shane and Shane, Is He Worthy? And I want you to listen to those today. You know, like, the Lord has been challenging me. Like, I got on my podcast channel and I spoke part of my testimony, and I have so many stories in my life of similar type things where God was really in the details and in the dates and in the people and the names and the town I grew up in and the people that I've worked for and what that symbolizes, in terms of the things that he's got going on globally, the things that he's speaking to me in my life. He is in every detail of your life. He is writing your story, and he's very attention to detail. The Bible says that he has the hairs on your head numbered, that he collects your tears. So if he's that organized and that detailed about those two things, can you believe that he is also in the details of the launch of your business, the launch of your podcast, the person that you meet that's guiding you on to maybe a different path? He is involved in every aspect and area of your life. And I just pray right now by the power of the Holy Spirit that you would start to see him in the details, that you would go back and open journals, that you would go back and revisit your historicity, him in your story, and that he would start to reveal to you where he has been walking beside you all the days of your life. So if you're still dealing with a feeling of questioning your worth, or maybe you feel like you're unworthy of this, or maybe you feel like God has called you to this, but you think that if it's up to you, you can't make it successful. Well, the beautiful thing is right now today, what the Lord is revealing to you is that it's not up to you, that it's up to him. When he gives you a grand vision for your life, he wants to give you the big picture so that you start the race toward that thing. And then you have to know that every day, sometimes hour by hour, minute by minute, whatever, peak or valley that you're in that moment, you have to ask him to reveal the next step. He's going to reveal it to you, but this is called a faith journey. We walk by faith and not by sight. So what we can't see, we have to trust that God is making that come to pass in our lives, even when it doesn't look like that around us. And so I want to just read this to you one more time. Am I worthy? Am I worthy for you to leave the familiar and embrace the unknown? The future may be unknown to you. You could be on the fence. You could be straddling the fence right now. You could be wavering between two choices, afraid to take the leap, but knowing you need to take the leap because God has called this tension in your life that is, it's like your spirit won't be at rest until you do the thing God has told you to do. And you might even be sitting here making excuses for the things. And you might have really good intentions about what those things are, but ultimately they're just excuses. They are delays to your promise. He says, the future may be unknown to you, but it is not unknown to me. Do you trust me to provide all that I said I would? Am I worthy? Will you really follow me now? Your life will look different than you imagined, but it will be glorious. Am I worthy? Worthy to follow? Worthy to forsake your ways and your plans for my greater? Am I worthy to be the voice that leads you into green pastures? I just have this feeling that as God guides you into the thing, and as you open up your mouth and you speak for him, that the people that you're called to impact will also follow you as you follow his voice into these green pastures, that you will prosper in chaos, that the people that you're called to that will prosper in chaos. I'm thinking of Daniel. Daniel was led into captivity in Babylon, but he chose not to defile himself with the king's food. And because he honored God, because he followed God, even when it wasn't popular, when it was even illegal to do in the nation of Babylon, the Lord put his hand on Daniel, and everything that he did, he gave him the ability to interpret dreams. He spoke to him in dreams and visions. He gave him favor with Nebuchadnezzar. You will prosper in chaos if you follow the Lord. But there's the if. You have to follow the voice of the Lord. Will you follow? Am I worthy? I am making a way where there seems to be no way for you. Am I worthy? Is it worth it to you? And will you follow me no matter what it looks like? I reveal step by step. So you can't get step 5 if you haven't taken step 1. If you're on step 4 and you're waiting for step 5, stay in place and seek the Lord. My personal belief is when I'm being challenged by God, a lot of times, like I've described earlier, I feel a tension, like my soul is not at rest until I do the thing God has called me to do. And it's like that even with delivering words of knowledge to people. It's like I have to get this out of me because it is urgent, Um, for some people, it's I would say there's other times in my life where I am just simply led by peace. Like I wait for the door to open. I don't force the door. I don't manipulate the door. Not to say that I haven't done this in my past and, like tried to force God's hand or which, I mean, who can do that anyway? But, making an Ishmael versus waiting on an Isaac promise. So I've learned through hard life lessons not to force the hand of God, but that if he's making me wait, it's for good reason, and much like Esther, there's all this stuff going on in the background, these pieces that God is moving around on his chessboard that he has to line up before you can walk in. So if things are moving slower or you feel like you're in a place where the next step doesn't seem clear to you, just wait and pray and praise, thank him that he's doing it. um, we see in part and we know in part, but God is doing so much more behind the scenes that we can't even possibly comprehend. Okay, and then am I worthy to still follow, or will you turn away? For people who are Marthas and they like to kind of go in life, um, being still and waiting on God can be a very big challenge for those types of people. So the test is always in turning away to kind of go with, well, I think this is it, or, like I feel like, I'm not getting any obstacle in this, so I'm going to go ahead and go this route. When in actuality, sometimes the faith test is in the wait. It's like, Lord, guide me, Lord, lead me, not, okay, well, door A closed, so it's obviously door B. Well, you don't know if a door C is going to rise up out of the ground right before you and it's going to be open. So you just be prayerful and be sure that that the door that you're walking through is truly the door that God has called you to. So the Lord finishes and says, I've called you to follow me. Am I worthy? When Peter denied Jesus 3 times and then Jesus reappeared to Peter, he said, Peter, do you love me? And he says, I do. And I'm not a theologian. I know that I feel like God had Peter to make that good confession 3 times to cancel the 3 times that he denied Jesus. And he said, if you love me, feed my lambs. If you love me, do this. If you love me, do that. All the Lord is asking you today is, am I worthy? Am I really worthy? What you promised me, what I promised you, are you going to hold up your end of it? And so I guess the question remains is, do you believe that he's worthy? And do you believe that you're worthy, that you are really the one that's called to execute on the king's behalf? So I'm going to drop those 2 songs in the description, and I'm trying not to go really long with these videos. I'm a contemplator, so I really like to take a long time over things, but I have all of these things that the Lord has spoken to me, and I have just been sitting on them. So I don't want to wait because I don't know who needs to hear this. So I'm praying that today, that no matter what it looks like, that you will take that step and that you will trust and that you will continue to move forward in the thing. Keep your hand to the plow. Don't look back. And one of the things that I pray, over myself and my family every day is that the favor of the Lord would be upon us and that he would strengthen the works of our hands for his glory. And, don't become weary in doing good, because in due time you'll reap a harvest if you faint not. So I pray this blesses you, encourages you today, and you are worthy, and so is God. So whatever he told you to do, get on with it. I love you, and I'll talk to you next time.